grateful to be together. Was anticipating this Shabbat for the last 24 hours, and it feels particularly strange for me in that 30 hours prior to the events last night, so Wednesday midday, I was in Washington, D.C., lobbying our elected representatives in Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, on behalf of the U.S.-Israel relationship in partnership with AIPAC, an incredible organization that I've been committed to and connected with for the entirety of my rabbinic career. It was a small gathering of about 40 rabbis, and we met on Tuesday, and then we went to the Hill to lobby, and I was having extensive, deep conversations about the need to strengthen the deal with Iran and all of the different elements that the pro-Israel community felt were necessary in order for us to feel safe today, tomorrow, and into the next generation. And I remember thinking thoughtfully how to make the case most compellingly to Republicans in ways that they would hear it, how I could then, in my next meeting, make the case equally compellingly, but using a slightly different political strategy and nuance when I would go meet with the Democrats. Thankfully, I was meeting only with friends, and we got into deep conversations about what was next. And I almost feel like I am unofficially part of the Mossad, because what I did was continue the ruse that we were working towards the strongest deal possible, when in fact I knew all along that we knew negotiations had reached their limit and action needed to be taken. But I say that in jest, but I know that all of us are feeling a collective of emotions, a salad of emotions, of being concerned, of frightened, of being inspired, maybe even hopeful, and maybe even grateful that after all of these years of knowing where the epicenter of the largest amount of challenges that our brothers and sisters in Israel face is finally being met with in a direct fashion. Not that we desire this type of action, but it's not like we haven't been trying for many years. I can tell you that in my 25 years, almost 25 years, I'm starting in a few weeks, my 25th year in the rabbinate, I have been lobbying on this issue my whole career. This has been a concern for our people for the entirety of my rabbinate. And my hope, if hope is a sentiment that we are allowing ourselves to experience, my hope is that through this dark moment, God willing, we may be privileged to usher in a new era of quiet in the Middle East, a new era of partnership for our brothers and sisters in Israel with an increasing number of neighbors, a new era of legitimacy, a new era of validation, and maybe a new era that will take out some of the steam of the hatred that we are experiencing, that Israel is experiencing and Jewish people are experiencing all over the world. Now, in moments like this, in the midst of war, which arguably could be characterized as a war that began on October 7th, and we're just still fighting this war now. We endeavored to fight it differently last night. And by we, I mean we. I'm very proud to use personal pronouns when we talk about our brothers and sisters in the state of Israel. We decided to take it in a different direction. I'm not a political or military analyst. I'm just a rabbi, but in moments like this, I think some of us look for signs. What is it that we can see in the universe that might help us find some answers as to what tomorrow may bring? So for some of us, even though we tend to leave the secular calendar aside when it's convenient for us, right? When is Rosh Hashanah? It's never on time, right? We know that's not our calendar. Okay, but it was 613. 613, June 13th, when this attack came. That's the number of commandments in the Torah. If you don't know that, you should come here more often. And maybe that's a sign. Or the Torah portion, which speaks about the cloud of glory that protected the Israelites in the wilderness and the fire by night, maybe that's a sign. Or the fact that in the Torah portion this week, it also says in chapter 10, verse 9 of the book of Numbers, when you are at war in your land against an aggressor who attacks you, you shall sound short blasts on the trumpets, that you may be remembered before the Lord your God and be delivered from your enemies. Or, as oftentimes it happens, we see texts or prayers that we read every day or every week, and they mean something different to us because the world is different today. Every time we take out the Torah from the ark and we rise and we open the ark, we say, Vayihi binsoa ha'aron vayomer Moshe. But it's a verse from this week's Torah portion, and what it means is chapter 10, verse 35 of the book of Numbers. When the ark was set out, Moses would say, advance, O Lord, may your enemies be scattered, and may your foes flee before you. You just need to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark to know what I'm talking about, the power of the ark. But again, all of these signs maybe are giving us a sense of hope. But I will tell you that I am not one for signs. I'm one for wisdom, and I'm one for history. I was speaking with someone earlier today, someone deeply connected in politics and in power. I'm not going to name drop, so I won't say who it was, but he's also a Yiddish Bacher, a nice Jewish boy. And so I said to him, what is it that you would want to hear from a rabbi this Shabbat? And he said, Rabbi, just tell us it's all going to be okay. Just tell us we've seen this before. Maybe not us personally, but our people, our mishpacha, our family, our nation. We have seen this before, and we have emerged victorious, and we have emerged safe and sound with God's protection. V'hi she'amda lavotenu from the Passover Seder that we read just a couple of months ago. This promise has stood for our parents and for us in good stead, that not just one enemy has stood against us to wipe us out, but in every generation there have been those who have stood against us to wipe us out, and yet the Holy One, blessed be God, keeps on saving us from their hands. Whether or not this moment is God, or whether or not this moment is the IDF, I'd like to believe it's a combination, where our people have striven out of necessity to become so effective in defending our people, because if we weren't so effective in defending ourselves, I believe we simply wouldn't be here. So that's why we have developed the tools and the skills, and maybe it is, in fact, with God's blessings. But that, for me, is the comforting wisdom that I find in our tradition in this dark moment, literally in the midst of an active war, under threat, our brothers and sisters in Israel as we speak. And so with that, with the heaviness that we all feel, with the sense that we are physically here, but our hearts and our souls are in Israel right now, in shelters with those who are together, like Cantor Rogers' own parents who are in Israel, and many of us, friends and family who are there, friends and family who are fighting, friends and family who are in Gaza, friends and family who may be participating in this moment right now. We hold them all in our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers. And together, I truly, truly believe that we will see ourselves through this moment. And my hope is that we are reaching the final aspect of this challenging era in which we find ourselves. And on the other side, God willing, our children and grandchildren will experience a much safer and better world for everyone, but also a more safe and beautiful world for the Jewish people.